over the edge. Feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stream. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. I hope you all are doing well. Everybody can hear me out there. Just want to make sure, trying a little something new with some intro music coming in. I want to make sure that everyone is able to hear me. How are you all doing out there? Antonio L, Olu, John, Andreas, good to have you here. Cracks, good to have you. HP, Mukula, I'm going to butcher these names. JD, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate you all. Just making sure everybody can hear me before I get going, before I talk for the next 15 minutes and realize, oh, goodness gracious, I can't. No one's been able to hear me, and that would be just rough. Rough. All right, I see one loud and clear. It's good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get started, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education and informational purposes only without any express or implied warranty of any kind. Please pause the stream, go back and read this. That way you're aware that there is no advice. This is all for education only. Great. I've got this out of the way. Thank you all for tuning in. Really excited to get into today's stream. Some of the templates are looking really good, and I'm excited for tomorrow. I've been away from the charts for these past couple of days. Been making some really significant headway on this course coming out on January 1st. A little plug there. Really excited to get this out to you all. I was a little bit worried probably about a month ago. You know, just me being a perfectionist and things like that. It was kind of in those beginning not beginning stages, but now looking at it, I'm quite proud of it, and it is really something I'm excited to get to you all. Coming out tomorrow, there's a video on the pips to profit indicator and trading view settings and things like that. I get a lot of questions about that. That's going to be coming out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and it walks through the indicator. It walks through how to get it. It walks through just a bunch of different things that is useful with like trading view. how to set up your trading view and all that different stuff. So if you've ever been curious about how my chart settings are, things like that, it's a very short video. Feel free to check that out. All right, awesome. I want to talk to you all today a little bit about weekly templates and 3-day setups and things like that. Pretty much the same dialogue that you always hear from me, but I would like to just kind of emphasize a few things because there's still confusion. There's always going to be confusion, and that's good. I'm just going to keep on saying it over and over again forever, and that is okay with me. 3-day templates. What's the purpose? What are we trying to accomplish? Well, there's market maker templates. There are templates in general. The market is not random. It is all planned. And this week, I think we've got non-farm payrolls coming into Friday. So this whole week is probably going to be a mover. And usually what I found is non-farm payroll weeks are a little bit more difficult to trade because like right now, we've got 3 days of breakouts and you think, okay, maybe it's going to reverse tomorrow or something like that. And then it just keeps going because it's all building up order flow and building some kind of pattern for non-farm payrolls at the end of this week. But coming back to what am I trying to explain? Market maker templates, right? Peak formation low, 3 levels of rise, everything moves in threes. You can call this the market maker template. You can call it Wyckoff. You can call it Elliott wave. It really doesn't matter what you call it, but this is how the market moves around, whether this is over the course of a week, over the course of a day, over the course of a session. This is the pattern that we're searching for. And then over the course of 3 days, you might have an opportunity for trend trades. You might have an opportunity for a first red day, maybe that big move down, or maybe we're in a different portion of the template where they've been doing this for an extended period of time. You get a first green day, and then now we're on the other side of that move. You always hear Stacey Burke over on his channel. Shout out to him. Obviously, that's who I learned from. Go check out his channel. He always talks about front side, back side of moves. And that's what this kind of signifies. You got the down move, 3 pushes down, 3 levels down, whatever you'd like to call it. First green day, 3 levels up, and the cycle continues over and over again where you're on one side of the move, and then you go on the other side of the move, and then you have, of course, the backside over here. So what are we trying to capture with, if you've ever seen my weekly templates, tips, and tricks slides about Monday, Tuesday, and then what is the close on Tuesday and things like that, we're trying to capture either trend trades or, depending on the opening range, there could be large-scale reversals from either the high or the low of the week. It all depends on the template that's setting up for the week. And that is going to lead me into the rest of this stream. As we're going through, everybody, please feel free to ask questions, provide input, all of those different things. I'm constantly looking in the chat to make sure you all's questions are getting answered. And, of course, any feedback is always welcome as well. All right, so we're going to get into the watch list. I'm going to be going through and analyzing all of these pairs that you see over here on the right and getting them into the categories that they belong based off of opening range style of setups, 3 days of breakouts, inside day, first red and first green day. I'll try my best to explain them as I go. Squeeze setups, that's going to be from the high and the low of the week based off of structure. I've got pump and dump or session trades whenever all of these fail and I don't see anything else that I could really kind of go with. Pump and dump and session trade is the fallback. All right. I'm a fast talker, so I do apologize for that, and I'm well caffeinated. So let's get into this live stream right meow. All right, so we're going to start off on the Nasdaq. I have a few things that I have to see every single day. Those things are market structure. I have to look at the signal days if we have one. And now that it is Wednesday, I can now look and see, do we have any opening range style of trades that I can look for, and I'm going to explain those as they come along. All right, so we have Monday providing a fairly wide range, opening range, really easy to see because, it's just the previous day's highs and lows over here on this day, right here on Tuesday. But I'm going to mark this off, and the very first thing on Nasdaq that I'm seeing is that we had an inside day, all right? We've been going down. And then we had a day that has gone down. Obviously, again, multiple days of breakouts. There was an inside day back here on this Friday. So I'm actually going to mark this off over here because there was this inside day, or basically an inside bar on the daily chart. They broke out low. And now there are maybe stops up here from where those breakout traders or those inside bar traders are still in profit. So I've got that up there. That's my first annotation. Now, Tuesday, obviously we have not hit the previous day's high or the previous day's low on Tuesday, which means that this was confirmed an inside day. Man, what is going on with my mouse? There we go. Inside day. I need to fix some of the stuff. I was doing some charting earlier. All right. So what does that tell me for tomorrow? Well, it means that if we break one side or the other, this is either going to be a breakout. It could be either side. It's either going to be a breakout and then a failure and a reversal, or it's going to break out, pull back, and continue to trend. We might get a range expansion of this consolidation. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and take a look. All right. And let's zoom back in. So I don't need to go back too far, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to look slightly to the left and see that we had a lower low put in place. So I need to draw kind of a U that's going to give me my market structure. They started making higher highs and higher lows over here, and then they broke down. So what does that tell me? That tells me that I have a major swing high up here. Major. All right. And I have a lower low in place, and that is it. So I just have a... Basically, this is my larger box, which is essentially just the opening range, right? Cool. So now I can zoom in a little bit and take a look at today's, and I can get my end-of-day consolidation up there, something about like this. Now, we did have a fairly decent dump and a day that is closed above the open. So, technically, this could be a first green day as well, inside day, first green day. We are up pretty high, so I'm a little bit hesitant to say that or do that. And I think I'm just going to probably leave it exactly how it is right now. All right. So I'm going to get this up into the inside day spot. I'm going to get this EODC labeled, and then I'll be able to make better decisions tomorrow in my session based off of this inside day and where the stops are, right? So if they trigger the high of this inside bar first, that would be my assumption that there are now stops down at the low that could be acting as a magnet. This all could be a buildup for non-farm payrolls. Would you draw Tuesday's inside bar stops? Yes. L, if they break to one side or other, you kind of read my mind before I even could read the chat. If they break to one side or the other of this inside bar, I would just label the stops off on the other end. So if like they break down here first, well, these stops are kind of already labeled up here, so I'd be good. If they break higher first, then I'm going to be labeling those inside bar stops down low. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, let's move on to US 30. I had a small glance at this one earlier. Already noticed that there was an inside day on Monday, which is a part of a weekly template. If you go back and study these, that is a fairly common occurrence where either Monday or Tuesday turns into an inside day. And there's templates and things that are associated with that. And we've actually came out to the bottom of that inside bar just a little bit, just barely tapped into it. So I am going to mark off my inside bar stops up here because that was probably just enough to trigger breakout traders in the market, maybe. However, whether or not this is going to go back up there, I have no idea, but I definitely want to have that annotated on my charts. All right, we've been going up for lots of days. We had multiple days of breakouts. Obviously, this huge parabolic move up doesn't mean it can't keep going, though. But this is my box, my high and my low. So there was a high over here, and then they went lower. They broke structure to the downside, and then they continued to go higher. So what does that do for me? That tells me that I need to move my major swing low up, and I'm going to put it right there. All right. That was dictated by the break-in structure down. That was a minor break to the downside, and then the continuation to go higher following that. And then this is my major high up here. So this is kind of my box that I'm trading from, at least my larger box. Now I need to find some kind of internal structure that I could be looking at. This is my major high as well, but it's not in place yet because they have not broke back down to the downside. So whenever they broke down over here, this turned into a major high, and then they've extended that major high up, but we don't know where it's going to land yet until they break structure back down to the downside. So over here, now we have just this kind of box, this consolidation throughout the week. Really no other signal days. We had a day over here that attempted to kind of go higher and then close down below the open. So this might be some kind of consolidation in level 3 for a move back down. I don't know, and I really don't want to speculate. This is all the details that I need for my trade tomorrow, just because I have my levels in place, and then what I can do is kind of just study the internal structure a little bit just to give me my end-of-day consolidation, which will just be my starting range for tomorrow, which is going to be right there, EODC. Oh, not like that. EODC. And that will be good for me. And I'm going to put this into no first red day, no first green day, no inside day. I don't know. Let's take a look. I need to look left a little bit. Do we have some kind of 3 push pattern over here where they're holding volume above? I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I'm going to put this into pump and dump. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow because this is coiled for something. I don't know what it's coiled for, but 2 days of consolidation sideways tells me a little bit of something. So I definitely want to be aware of this. This big spike up to the upside, is this an area where they're trapping volume? Are they trapping longs up top? Are they starting to drag them lower and lower? We'll be able to see a bit more tomorrow. Can an inside day also be a first red day and a first green day, or first green day? Yes, absolutely it can. The only thing that changes with that is going to be the invalidation. If a first red day or a first green day is, normally if it was an inside day, if they hit one side or the other, that's good. So if you have a first red day, for example, and they hit the previous day's high, I would normally say that's an invalidation if they start closing candles above there. However, if it's an inside day, think about what that does. Let's say this was a first red day and they made a higher high. Well, that just puts stops down low, which means that they could come back to revisit that. So that is my exception for the invalidation, is if it is a first red and first green day, a first red day or a first green day and an inside day. That invalidation changes a little bit. All right. Let's go on over to oil. I was a little bit interested in this earlier today, kind of thinking about maybe this could be a first green day. Having seen all of these days of down, push 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 days of breakouts in the market, guaranteed. We've got 1 day of breakouts, 2 days of breakouts just this week alone. So maybe tomorrow could be that third break during the week. I don't know for sure, of course, but like I said, you have to be very careful on these non-farm payroll weeks because a lot of times they will just continue to drag on and on and on, and you're sitting there trying to catch the reversal, and that's not what it's trying to accomplish. All right, so I'm going to annotate this 3 days of breakouts, number 1. All right, so we got 3 days breakouts in there. And let's take a look at the structure of things that is happening. We had a low in place over here. They penned through it, and they did not break it until right there. So if I were to draw a U from there to where they broke, this is going to be my high. And I think this actually might be a major high because they broke structure to the upside over here, and then they continued to go lower. So this is, in fact, a major level in my mind. All right, major. And all they have done at this point is they made this lower low. They traded back up into the high of London without breaking it. And now they've continued to extend that major low down. All right, so this could be maybe push 1, and maybe, just maybe, this is push 2 outside, not only outside of consolidation, but in the extension of a major level. This could be push 2. So maybe push 3 tomorrow. Of course, not going to guess or anything like that. So let's see. 3 days breakouts, market structure. We're extending a major low. I'm going to annotate that this is a major low, something like that. And my minor levels would definitely be like up here, this minor high, the high of New York, high of London. They're pretty much equal. I need to mark off my end of day consolidation, remembering not to get sweaty about it. It's not a massive deal, but it's basically just the starting range for the next day, and gives me reference when I come to the session of what they've done in relationship to that range. Okay, so there's my end of day consolidation, giving me a smaller box inside of a larger box, except they kind of close on the outside of this major level. No big deal though. As far as opening range goes, we had the opening range on Monday, and I kind of did this a little backwards. I always preach about, reading from left to right, and I goofed. So we had this close on the outside of the opening range over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to annotate this close. So a few things could happen. Tomorrow could just continue to go lower, and that would be perfectly fine. I'd be happy with that. Some indications of that. Asia makes a lower low. London pulls back. New York's the trade. Some kind of dialogue along those lines. However, if tomorrow the market were to start making higher highs in Asia, and then London were to pull back, maybe they make a lower low and then make a higher high, something like that, pull back into New York, you might see some kind of reversal, maybe back up to the 50% to go grab for the money. Maybe they're not ready to go lower just yet. All right. Those are really the only two options that I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to put this into opening range because I do like how this is closed. I probably should be putting it in 3 days breakouts, which I actually just did on accident. So fantastic. Let's see. What do you mean by you? Antonio, maybe I'm misreading this. What do you mean by you? I'm not really sure. Did I put a U up there? Was in relation to market structure. Oh, gotcha. So when they make this this low right here, and then they make the lower low, it's just a teaching technique that I've found to help people figure out where the high is going to be. So like we have this point here, they did a 2 candle pullback and then they went lower. So if you were to do something kind of like this and draw a U to the highest point that they pulled back and then connect it to where they broke, then you will find your high, all right? And you can do the opposite in the other direction if we're making an uptrend. Would you take buys if it was going for equal highs? Yes. If it's from the low of the week or something like that, I would be happy to do that if the setup presents itself at a certain time of the day. However, with this style of close and the fact that we have not had any major breaks in structure to the upside, the trade setup in theory right now is down. But if I have more information when I come to the screen tomorrow, Asia makes a higher high, London pulls back, we're starting to trail higher, that could be an indication that we're going back for the money. All right. Okay. This looks good. I'm happy with this. 3 days breakouts, opening range. I've got my levels in place. I've got an idea about these pushes and the close. I think this is good. 2 thumbs up. S&P, a little bit. This is actually quite a bit of divergence between. Okay, so it's not actually. It's pretty similar to the Nasdaq, so I'm not going to sit here and speculate and do all kinds of craziness. Inside day on Tuesday, and I'm just going to move on. I'm going to put it up here with Nasdaq. It looks almost exactly the same. I don't really look at S&P. In fact, I had removed it the other day from my watch list because I do the same thing every single time, but maybe one day it'll provide something different. Anyways, moving on to gold. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 84 in the stream, which is fantastic. This stream is actually doing pretty well. But do me a huge favor, just real quick. It's one of the few things in life that is free, and it is a fantastic way to support me. Please do me a favor, hit that like button real quick. I know it's a silly thing to sit here and ask for that, but it really does help the stream quite a bit. It gets the thumbnail pushed out to more people, which could in turn see some new viewership, all right? Which would be great. So I really do appreciate all of your support, and I'm going to now move on without fishing anymore. All right, we've got gold. We've got a very unusual opening range on gold. This huge spike up right at the beginning of the day, and this is a bit of a half Batman. If I were to take a picture of Batman from the side profile, there's his ear, and then there's kind of his head and his nose. This is what Steve Morrow would consider a peak formation high. This is the opening range for the week, however, and it is very large. Okay, this is a very wide range opening range for the week, which is interesting. Okay, so we were making a series of higher highs and higher lows, and then all of a sudden, it broke down. Now, it didn't just break down a minor level. This was what I would consider to be a major break in structure. This was a major level, and then they broke down. So this was a major BIS. I'm going to label that off, and I'm going to throw this down in the middle. There we go. And on the bottom so I can see it better. Now, what happens with a major break in structure? Well, you would anticipate 3 pushes back up to the upside. Maybe they're going to extend that major low down first, 3 pushes before that retracement. I don't know. But one thing I do know for sure is the market only does 3 things. Creates a range, breaks out in trends, breaks out in reverse, or just stays inside of a trading range. We have not stayed inside of a trading range. We've gone to the outside. So I've only got 2 options. I need to look at the close for Tuesday and assess tomorrow, does the market make a lower low in Asia and pull back in London, and then New York might be the short trade? Option number 1. Option number 2, market starts to display some kind of jamming in behavior. They come back up here, and it breaks out of a splitting range or a range in general. They split it, and it starts to ascend. It starts to ascend. It starts to ascend, and then maybe it goes vertical from that point. That would be a parabolic trend trade, peak formation high, peak formation low, consolidation. If it were to split a range and then go vertical like this, I wouldn't be surprised. But both of these, being aware of both sides and looking for evidence of both, understanding both sides, is really going to help you not be caught off guard saying, okay, well, it's an opening range breakout. It's going to go lower tomorrow. And then next thing you know, it's going vertical straight back up. And you're like, oh my gosh, why? Why has this happened? like I said, understanding both sides of things. All right, so like where would longs be trapped? Obviously, I think longs would probably be trapped somewhere up here in this 3-push pattern to the high. Where would shorts be trapped? Probably somewhere in this 3-push pattern into the low. We've got 1 push down, 2, and 3, so maybe traps below push 2. Maybe this is the trap short. I don't know. And we also have the 3-push pattern on the day itself, making that lower low. We had a break of structure down going further. So what that did was, once they made a second lower low, now I have a high in place over here. I've got my low in place over here, which is going to give me my levels. And then as far as my end of day consolidation, you better believe I'm going to be marking that off, this tight little range down here. Normally I say, hey, end of day consolidation, not super important, but in this scenario, I would argue that it is, simply because of the way that this is closed and looking for maybe parabolic trend trades tomorrow. If they split this range and start jamming people in down low, that's something I want to be aware of. Time to take a breath. Okay, do we have any signal days yesterday? Huge pump to the high, first red day, except how far do we have to go back down? Oh, I see, said the blind man. Okay. So I'm not really seeing any other signal day. We had the push 1, push 2, or 2 days of breakouts. Now we only have 2. Looking for that third tomorrow maybe to come in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to label that off just to let myself know that there's already been 2, because maybe tomorrow will be the third, and then that's a reversal opportunity. I don't know. But I do know that having all the details up on the screen when I come will be a quick reference, and it'll be easier for me to come up with a thesis leading me into New York session. Speaking of New York session, I am going to be doing a live trading on Discord tomorrow for all 99 of you in here. If you'd like to attend, the link to Discord is in the description below. And I do these periodically when I don't have webinars, and all of December I do not have webinars. So I'm going to be starting that live at 9:25. If that sounds good to you, maybe throw up the number 1 in the chat real quick, or maybe like a thumbs up or something like that. I would appreciate it. If I don't get some response to this, you all don't really want to see that, then maybe I won't. But as of right now, that's the plan. All right. Let's see here. All right, we want to see it. I'll be there. 9:20 tomorrow. Discord in the live section, the public channels. It's going to be a good time. No other signal days. I do have that close outside the opening range. It's a good close, and this opening range has my interest peaked. You better believe I'll be watching this. In fact, I can almost kind of see maybe a little something forming. Maybe not. Maybe I'm seeing things. All right. I'm going to move on to US dollar Swiss. I'm going to delete all my annotations. Let's go back. I need to... Man, this isn't a trading range or something weird. It's being strange. So thinking back a few weeks ago, I was watching this for a long trade because they had dropped it down and then they went sideways, and they dropped it down and went sideways, and now they've dropped it down another level and gone sideways. And they just keep on dropping it down levels, except now if you look at the 1 hour chart, boy, look at that. Big push to the low, big push to the low. 1, 2, sideways, 3 to the low. Or even maybe 1, 2, 3 to the low. So we've got shorts trapped down low. But let's look for signal days. Let's look for weekly templates and anything of the sort. All right, so we have our Monday opening range, fairly wide range. Please go back and study those for yourself. Interesting, very interesting stuff. We had a failed breakout down low over here on that Monday. Now we've gone up and we've got a failed breakout high. Well, what does that mean to me? That is kind of a peak formation high, peak formation low. What's going to happen tomorrow? I have no idea. Wide range, opening range. The only 2 things that can happen. We have gone to the outside, so it is not going to be a trading range, essentially. Is this going to continue to breakout, pullback, continuation? Or are they traveling back up into the high, maybe in some kind of 3-push pattern? Maybe this was breaking structure, down low, push 1. All right, here comes Asia. Push 2. And push 3 back into the high in a major downtrend. That's possible. It's a strong possibility. All right, making lower lows and lower highs over here. So I think that my major swing high was right here, or there, whereabouts. We'll put that up there. So this could be 1, 2, 3 back up to the high, failed breakout for that pump and dump back down through the low. That is a possibility. So I'm going to actually annotate that on the screen so that way I don't forget that I saw that and I noticed it. because it could formulate some kind of trading idea. Could be cool. Oh, no. Hey, quit that. Put number 3 up here. I've got my peak formations labeled, and I need to do my end of day consolidation, which is going to look something like this. Last swing high, last swing low of the New York session, whatever builds a nice little tight box works for me. EODC, and searching for that pattern tomorrow. Do I have any signal days? I think we had a breakout and a first green day over here on Monday, and we had a bit of a continuation, bit of a choppy continuation today on that Tuesday. And then, like I said, tomorrow, thesis being opening range, either breakout or this is fairly wide range. Maybe it's going to be a failed breakout back down to the other side, collecting all of this order flow on the way back down. We will see tomorrow. Cam, please, which software are you using for video editing or video recording? It's OBS Studio, free. With 3-day cycle, do you wait for the close of the day or trade the false break on day 3? Antonio, that's a multi-part question, but the idea on day 3 is that it's either going to be a trend trade or a reversal, and I'm just looking for signs of that. What I do prefer to see is the failed breakout and then looking for the trend trade on day 2. That is usually what I use the 3-day cycle for. Let's see. Okay, that's all the questions I got. We're going to move on. And we had a day of breakouts today, so we don't have 3 days of breakouts down. Close outside of the opening range. No. Close just back on the inside of the opening range. However, this opening range does interest me quite a bit. I'm going to put it into pump and dump, and I'm actually going to label it because I'm interested. I want to remind myself tomorrow to check this out. Probably check it out early in the morning just to see which one of these ideas is functioning, which one is playing out. This is my major low down here, so I'm in between, like I said, that's kind of a larger box. I know I keep saying I'm going to move on and then coming back, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, let's go. US dollar, Japanese yen. We had a first green day. Huge dump down. And then we have been going down as well, which is good. Big pump or big dump down. And then the day that's traded down below the previous day's low, closing above that open. This is a decent close because we have so much space to get back up to where that dump began up in this area. And then now we have an inside day today. This is part of a template. I'm telling you, part of a template. We will see. Now, here's the thing. Does this just roll over tomorrow? Could be. We're in a downtrend, right? I mean, that's fairly logical. It seems to make sense. Let's see. We had a lower low over here. The break-in structure to the upside would have confirmed a major low down at this point here. And then they continue to extend that high up, up, up. And then they did break back down over here. So actually my major high is up here. And then now they have gone and broke the low and continued to go lower. Did they break structure back up to the upside? I need to check and see. So lower low, and then yes, they did. They did break back up to the upside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off my new major low down here. And I'm actually going to put major on there because now I have a box to trade from, right? And let's see. In the series of making higher highs and higher lows. Okay. I'm going to throw my opening range up there just to, it'll be a quick and easy reminder tomorrow. I know it was an inside day, but we will see. This is everything that I really need to make trading decisions effectively. I've got my levels. I need my end of day consolidation up here. Something about like this. Last swing high, last swing low. Looks pretty good. EODC, throwing that up there. And we had to close back on the inside of the opening range. Cam, please switch. Oh, wait, I already said that very well. Okay. Going to put this into inside day. Everything I need to know is up on the screen. My levels, my signal day, my close, inside day. I'll throw this up here. Just to help me remember. All right. Moving on. US dollar, Canadian. Let's get rid of all this stuff. All right, we had the opening range on Monday, and slightly different than on some. Oh goodness gracious! Slightly different than some of the other pairs, where there's been an opening range breakout, and they have closed outside of that range. So tomorrow, based off this close, I can look: does Asia make a higher high? Does London pull back? Is New York the trade? Or does Asia or London make a lower low break in structure, pull back to New York for a short trade, failed breakout, back down through the low? I think we've already been in a downtrend, so that would actually kind of, make a little bit of sense. But I will only know tomorrow when I come to the screen. Okay, this might be also trap volume down low. Looking at these levels here, if you start to notice some strange behaviors like, wow, they traded through this low, and then they went sideways, and then they broke back up, and they didn't want to go back down there. So is there trap volume down low? Is this entire opening range trap volume for a parabolic straight up move tomorrow? I mean, it's certainly possible. So what else do I got? Do I have any signal day? I had a day that attempted to go lower and then close above the open first green day. We had a vertical move in New York, or in the gap time leading into today. Let's take a look at, I'm going to look at the minor levels. We had a higher high in place, which created this low down here, and then we had this high up here. These don't just magically go away unless something breaks. So they did break right there at the end of the day, which means I can take my minor low and move it up. This is going to give me my box. Maybe Asia makes a higher high and then pulls back into the low, and then something like that. It could be one of those options. How many weekly templates do you trade, Kurt? Go watch on my channel. I've got the weekly templates, multiple of them. I have multiple weekly template videos up, and it lists out all of the different styles of templates that I'm searching for and what is associated with them. I would probably help to answer that question a bit better. But I think in total there's 7 that I look for, or at least different scenarios. You're welcome, Kurt. Okay, let's see. I don't want to just skip through it. I got to make sure I've got my levels in place. I'm going to leave this as my end-of-day consolidation as well. This looks pretty good. EODC. It's a fairly tight range, not too tight, but not too wide either. That's good enough for me. Do I have anything else? Anybody see anything? Ooh. Not seeing any response, so I'm going to keep going. Fantastic stuff. Opening range. I'm going to put this up here because I do like to close on this one, and I want to have eyes on. Euro JPY continuing to make lower lows and lower highs. We have at least 3 days of previous day's low having been broken. What is happening on this pair? What are we doing? Okay. But we've been going down for a while. I don't know. Okay, what I do know, though, is we have 3 days breakouts. We got one from Friday, one from Monday, and then we do have today's as well. So I'm going to annotate that up here on the screen. 3 days, previous days. Nope. We got 3 days breakouts. I'm going to leave that channel up there because that's, I mean, you can just kind of tell that seems to be relevant. Okay, levels. Let's figure out our levels. Push 1 outside of consolidation, weeks range. Push 2 outside of consolidation, weeks range. Push 3 outside of consolidation, weeks range. I think that's previous week's low, right? So we have traveled through the previous week's low, and then we've done 3 pushes down. So I'm going to annotate that as well because you better believe that could be relevant when I come to the screen tomorrow. Now, of course, it could just keep going lower, and that would be perfectly fine. But I want to have a quick reference of what is going on or what could be going on. So maybe push 1 outside of previous week's range, push 2, maybe push 3 outside of previous week's range. Maybe we'll get a move up tomorrow, maybe not. I'm going to delete this. I've just got a little bit too many lines up here. Okay, so now I need to figure out my major minor levels. I think my major levels is probably way up yonder. No big deal. We made this lower low here. That means that my high is going to be, if I do a little U here, we got the high up here. That line's already pretty much good, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to do a follow-on line over here to give me my box, and then I'm going to do my end-of-day consolidation. This tight little wound coil at the low of the day looks nice. I'm going to use that. Okay. If I keep taking pauses, I do apologize, but it's because I don't want to miss anything, and I've got to think through it in my own head sometimes. Yeah. Okay, 3 days, previous day's low. It just feels weird not to talk for a second. Whatever, feels strange. So let's put this into that category, 3 days, previous day's low. No breaks in structure to the upside just yet, and that is kind of a pretty important thing that I want to see for a 3 days, previous day's low sort of trade. Peak formation high, peak formation low. Maybe. That could be the peak formation high, and that could be the low. They attempted to break back up, and then now they've attempted to break back down. I can definitely see that. EJ closed inside the opening range after a failed breakout. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I'm going to highlight that close just to give myself a reminder. In fact, I really should put the whole opening range up there as well, and I could just delete it tomorrow when I get to the screen. It just becomes a little too overwhelming when I get to the screen and I see like 5,000 lines. Like I've got all kinds of trend lines all over the place. So if I come tomorrow and this is too much, I'll just remove some stuff. But as of right now, it looks okay. All right, euro pound. Ooh. Hot diggity dog. Okay, well. That's interesting. All right, we've been going down for, let's see, we had 1 week down, 2 weeks down. We have not broke the previous week's low. All right, so this is the previous week's low, which is also a major level at this point. They've got this retail bottom in place, which would make me a bit nervous. Number one, there's a few options with this. Number one, this is a retail bottom. They make a grab for the cash and it goes vertical. Option two, they trap at high and it rolls over and goes vertical through the low. That's pretty much it, right? So we've got 3 days of breakouts down. We had an inside day. They hit the high. So I need to put my inside bar stops from this inside day. They hit the high. And then now we have the inside bar stops down low. All right, so I've got that in there. Maybe a reason for them to go vertical through those stops. They did slightly attempt to go higher today and then close back down within the range. And they've left that space there, which is partially a template. It's not partially a template. It is a template in which I would look for a continuation tomorrow after a failed breakout, except that pin through the high is not very convincing, so I'm not really too sure. Let's look at the end-of-day consolidation. We've got this nice, tightly wound kind of box of volume here. That's going to be my end-of-day consolidation, and then I've got all of my other levels up there that I'm going to need. All right, this is the low. They broke higher up here. And this is going to be the high. So this is my box. Pretty tight box, really. Which is also my opening range. In your opinion, are they now working the high? See, that's a tough thing to have an opinion on. Because right now I see evidence of both, and without tomorrow's price action being there, it's going to be rough to kind of say. But I always do both. I always look at both. Where are they trapping longs? Where are they trapping shorts? Well, I've got this candle over here, which lines up pretty good with that candle there, which lines up pretty good with that candle there, which lines up pretty well with push 2 over here. So, yeah, they could absolutely be trapping longs. But on the flip side of that, you've got this candle there, you've got this candle there, you've got this candle there, so they could be trapping shorts. I need the timing window to help me confirm which way they're going, all right? Antonio, and that's a good note for everyone in here. You know, I do these analysis, and I stand by them. I think this is by far the best way of trading that I have ever seen. Of course, I'm a little bit biased, but I don't know that I'm going to take a trade until, the candle prints. The candle prints, and I say, yeah, you're right. That is good after 9:30. So it's kind of hard for me to speculate this far out, but you'll hear me tomorrow in Discord during the live running through my thoughts and saying what I'm thinking leading up to the trade, and hopefully that does help all of you a little bit with the thought process. All right, let's put this into, I don't know. I'm going to put this in squeeze. This 2 days, this big dump down in 2 days of box is a good sign of either stop hunt low rise or stop hunt high drop. continuation. This would be a pretty good range expansion opportunity if they do decide to expand in one of these directions tomorrow. Put that in squeeze and highlight because that looks mighty fine. All right, Euro USD. It's going down currently. It's currently going down. All right, 3 days of breakouts in the market. Looks good. 3 days previous days low. Cool. But one of the first things, whenever I get 3 days of breakouts in the market, the very first thing I like to check immediately after that is structure. So we had this low in place. They went higher. In fact, they actually made a lower low, high, lower low, and then I think that they did make a higher high there, which is good. That confirmed this as a major low. And then when they break back down, I need to move my major high. So this is going to be my major high. They've extended the major low down, and they have not quite broke structure back up, but this could be the soon-to-be major low. This is kind of my box, right? Now I'm going to get my end-of-day consolidation. I'm going to use that area right there, EODC. And do we have a first red or a first green day? No first green day, no first red day, no inside day. Cool. I need to look at the opening range and say, hey, what kind of weekly template could this be? Well, as of right now, they've closed on the outside of the opening range. Maybe Asia makes a lower low. Maybe London pulls back. Maybe New York's the trade. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Or maybe because it's a euro pair, maybe it moves in London, you know. However, the template that I typically look for on this is going to be Asia makes a new extreme, gives me some sort of direction. London does whatever. And then based off what London does and what Asia does, I can make a decision in New York. So is this a breakout? Or tomorrow, maybe I come to the screen. They've got people jammed in down low. This is a little W. Maybe it starts to ascend and go vertical. Maybe it's time for a retracement. Hopefully a large one. All right, we've got all this money sitting up here. Look at all this money. Could be, right? That'd be pretty easy pickings. A little bit of fruit. Maybe the trees are plentiful. We got to go pick some fruit. Okay, my jokes were terrible. Let's put this back into, I think I'm going to put it in 3 days breakouts. And I'm going to highlight this one as well because I do like how this one is closed outside the opening range. Do I see anything else? I don't want to feel like I'm rushing. I'm not rushing. I don't have anything to do. Okay. Pound dollar. EU has a similar wedge channel on EJ. Yeah. Oh, does it? Hold on. Time out. Are you talking about like, oh, I see what you're saying. It's a larger pattern. So like a, yeah. I don't really draw wedges, but I see what you're saying. Actually, it's more of a descending triangle. Yeah. I think it's more of a descending triangle. But we'll see. We'll see. That could be the trap. Who knows? And that's why I don't really care for chart patterns, because I could draw... I guarantee you with the prices that are up here on the screen right now, I could draw at least 20 patterns. And it was just, you know, they just go whatever way they're going to go, you know. So not really a huge fan of chart patterns like that, but I do think they're cool whenever I see them. But it's more of just like a nerdy geek trader kind of thing. Like, oh, yeah, look at that. I saw that in a book one time. And I just draw it and I laugh and then I move on. Your training content has made a huge difference. John, are you... Is this the John that I think it is? I think it is. If it is, I mean, that is lovely to hear. I mean, you and I have been talking for a long time. To hear you doing well like that. I had someone the other day, they commented on one of my YouTube videos and told me that I was the reason they're profitable. And I don't think you understand as an educator or as a teacher who, I mean, I spend a lot of time doing this. And that's the whole reason I do this, is to get comments like that and see things like that. Like, I literally almost jumped out of my chair because I was like, I mean, that's fantastic. That's the whole reason I do this. All right. Let's see here. Pound dollar. Looking for signal. That is it. We have a lot of very wide range opening range weeks this week. And that could be some sort of indication of what's to come. Again, market only does 3 things. That's a pretty wide range. It's going to break out in trend or might break out in reverse. All right. When you have a wide range opening range, I'm very cautious about failed breakouts. That's all I'll say. All right. Sometimes these really wide ranges, a lot of times they turn into some weird failed breakout thing. You got to be careful. All right. However, we do have a close on the outside of the opening range on the pound dollar. Maybe Asia makes a lower low and continues. Maybe Asia makes a higher high and starts trailing back up for a parabolic trend trade back up to the 50% of the other side of the range. Options. We've got options. We had a move back up. They spiked the high over here, which is interesting because we have been, I think, going down, right? Oh, no, we've been going up. Okay, we've been going up on this one. I think I need to rewind. Let's rewind a little bit. Okay, we had this high. Did they ever break structure down over here? I feel like there was something that I was watching on this pair. I need to go left a little bit. All right, I don't want to lead you all astray. I don't want to lead myself astray. So we were making higher highs and higher lows. And then they traded back down into the low, and then they continued to go higher. No break in structure to the downside. High, low, higher, high. Okay. Did they break structure down there? That's pretty close. They did. That is a break to the downside. Okay, so that break to the downside would have confirmed to me that this is a major high. And then it looks like, man, this is a little bit hard to read. See, this is where I need to go to maybe the 1 hour. Because I am a little bit, whenever I'm staring at it for too long and I can't figure out my levels, 1 hour chart will save me, all right, in most cases. So we had a higher high over here. And then they made a lower low on the one hour chart. So we do have a break in structure down on the 1 hour chart. This is going to give me this little line right here. And it looks like we've got some continuation going on. Continuing to make lower lows and lower highs. We made this lower high over here. So, I mean, we've been going down. That's all I really know. However, this is 1 push down, 2 push down. Now this is, I mean, we're on a 1 hour chart right now. I should not be doing my analysis here. But, you know, having noticed it, I'd be silly not to say this or put this up there. So maybe 1, 2, and then if we get a lower low again tomorrow, maybe that could be 3. Close outside the opening range. Does not look like a short squeeze template as of right now. All right, I'm going to do my minor levels real quick. We had this lower low right here. They did not go any, if that percent thing would get out of the way, that'd be sweet. There we go. All right, so they didn't go any lower than that. So this was the high. This is going to give me not only my end of day consolidation, but also my minor levels for right now. All right, so I'm going to actually label this as a minor high so I don't forget. And I'm going to throw my end of day consolidation up there, EODC. Double check I don't have any signal days, not a first red day, not a first green day. Not 3 days of breakouts because we had a reset over here. We have 2 days of breakouts in the market right now. Close outside the opening range is all I can really do, so I'm going to put this into opening range. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 7 minutes. 7 minutes to discuss whatever you all would like. So if you all have questions, feedback, anything about trading that you've been wondering about, I would appreciate some questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. All right. This is the time. Maybe you just want to talk about my shirt or my mustache, or tell me my eyelashes are crooked. It doesn't matter. Have I got any new shirts lately? No, but I got some new gym shorts the other day, which sounds silly, but when you only have 3 pairs of gym shorts, adding a few to your collection is quite useful. Can you clarify what makes a reset? So we were going down. We had a day of breakouts, down to the downside, day of shorts. And then we had a reset up here where they hit the other side of the range. If they would have continued making lower lows, pushing down lower and lower through previous days high or previous days lows, that would have been 3 days of breakouts. But because they hit the previous day's high, I consider that a reset. So now I have 1 and then 2 days of breakouts in the market. How's your 75 doing? I haven't started yet. I'm going to start in January. I have not started yet. We're starting in January. But I'm really excited for it. I'll tell you that much. I'm really excited to get going. I've got some really good goals in mind. I'm thinking that I'm already pretty close getting back there, but I'm thinking for goals, I'm going to do a whole video on this, but goals for the 75 hard is, yeah, I'm supposed to read 10 pages a day, but I'm probably going to do more. To finish those 2 books that I got, which we're going to be reading The Best Loser Wins and a book by Al Brooks, something to do with reading charts bar by bar by Al Brooks. As far as gym goals, what am I trying to accomplish? I'm thinking 315 on bench. If I can get closer, because I'm around in the 4s right now on squats, but if I can get closer to the 5s on squat, and then deadlift, if I can get back over 500, that would be good. As far as running goes, because that's going to be part of my workouts, part of the building discipline series, I'm shooting for probably a 6-minute mile time. If I can get there or back down to there, I would be happy. Heavy duty read, yeah, that's what I've kind of heard. But I heard the content is gold as long as you can sit through the read. The rest of the 75 hard challenge, though, drinking a gallon of water a day, that'll be easy. And the meal plan part, that's usually the hardest thing for me, is the eating. Most people like overeating and eating stupid amounts of food, but me, eating 3 meals a day is going to be a goal for me. Seen a lot of currencies start their move 8 to 8:30. Yes, John, absolutely. And that thought process right there that you just had is the exact reason why I was trading the first hour for so long. And ever since I stopped doing that, I just come to the screen around like 9:15, 9:20. My accuracy has gone up through the roof. Diet is critical. Yeah, diet is definitely critical, especially for me, 6'2", about 185 pounds. I need to get some weight back on my body. Track your macros. Yep, I use... What is this thing called? Hold on, I'll tell you. It is... What in the world was that? It is... Chronometer. Yep, I use the same one. Yep, I use the same... I used to use MyFitnessPal, but they started making you pay for it. And there's free options out there. So I was like, I'm not going to pay for something just because I know what it is. I'm going to go to the free option, All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude today's live stream. I greatly appreciate every single last one of you. This has been a great live stream, and I think it's been a lot of great information. If you want to tune in tomorrow to the live on Discord, I'll be trading live over there, walking you all through my thoughts. As we get closer to that 9:30, I'm going to start at 9:20 a.m. Eastern time. I'm pretty verbal on there. I'll focus in once it's time to focus in, but other than that, I always like to share my thoughts. You all are fantastic. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.